we're trying to summarize to keep things as simple as possible so that people comprehend what's really going on. I think it's because of, unfortunately, the educational system that they've been trained in. And unfortunately, it does rest a lot upon the parents because the parents have placed their children voluntarily into a system to imprint false information or bad knowledge upon their children. And you can't expect the children to come out of an 8-hour training course that's there to imprint in their mind how to do things wrong, and then blame the children for coming out as the product or the issue of this. So we want to look at how it all begins, but the system is an accusatory system of law. So we're going to read accusatory out of Black's 10th, and it basically states, accusatory system, the Anglo-American system of criminal procedure in which someone levels an accusation of crime against a person whose conduct is then assessed by a judge and usually a jury to determine whether the charge has been substantiated. See adversary system. Okay, pretty straightforward. If you have a mind that goes to the Bible first, you'll realize that Satan is also called the accuser of the brethren, or the brotherhood of those that are of truth, and he basically is also known as the adversary. Walks around like a roaring lion, seeking to devour whoever he can. Well, in the beginning, when your parents got involved in the legal system, they entered into providing, through being an informant, your private name, which became the host to the accusation. The public title has no one to accuse without a private trespasser in there. So the active state is absolutely responsible for this unconscionable framing. Mainly because of the fact is that they are basically part of the world powers that are controlled by Satan. But we empower them, unfortunately, to cause the problem. So even though we could never have really been accused as a child, we would have been acquitted, certainly not accused, because a child could never be guilty of a criminal trespass. Therefore, this is just a statement. It doesn't mean it's truth. And so it's framed to look like, there is a party that's being accused, and we're going to see where the evidence goes. But mainly because they can't charge a child, and they used basically private evidence that did not belong to them as public state evidence. They were able to at least create the environment for this accusation to happen. So we just have to look at what's really happening from the beginning, but this can harm you. And because active state is involved in this, they're responsible all the way through. The active state caused the injury because they actually caused the inducement of evidence onto this document that they were not in jurisdiction to require. But the parents voluntarily put it on there, and we're going to get into what the next stage is, what has to be done. So I bring back us to these simple videos on explaining what has gone on, because you weren't the blame of this at the beginning. It only happens later. Okay? This document, or whatever the parents filled in, could never have harmed you. Active state is responsible for what has occurred here. And because they are an accusatorial system, and we know Satan is called the accuser, we can understand he's also the adversary, that they're in reality inducing you to walk into their system and then be part of the accusation that allows them to create a charging instrument. So We're going to go into the next video and explain a little bit further on what happens next and where your position is to get out or to come out.